Thank you very much and welcome to Ozim News and Sources Media Network. CAB3 is almost done, according to ZANU PF. The Concord is still to make a ruling on it, but debate is there. Indications are that by end of this week, MPs could be voting. ZANU PF has blamed the opposition because it does not have numbers to stop CAB3. The opposition says ZANU PF caused the death of the opposition in Zimbabwe. Well, let's dissect all these issues with MDC president and the co-author of the 2013 constitution that is now being changed, at least for the third time, Douglas Togarase Mwonzora.
The questions are, who do I tell? Who do I ask? That's between you and me every single day. We're asking ourselves questions. We see issues on social media, we see trending questions, but we really don't know who to ask. Worry not, because the fix is there to solve exactly that. We talk about socio-economic issues and we talk to the movers and the shakers so that you and I can have the answers to make sure that our sleep is a lot more peaceful in this, our motherland. So make sure you do not miss out on that one. My name is Erica Ndora and I'll be with you every single week on The Fix while we try to fix that gap, the questions and the answers. Make sure you catch up with us on our social media platforms. That is at The Fix ZW. You can also follow me at Erica Ndoro to make sure everything is in sync, and I'm talking about the questions, the conversation. It is at The Fix ZW.
Honorable Mwonzora, welcome to Ozim News.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for inviting me. May I take this opportunity to greet the people of Zimbabwe. We know what they are going through at this point in time. We have seen the demolitions in the high-density suburbs, and it's a sorry state. Our state is turning against its own citizens, especially the poor.
One would say this is a repeat of Operation Mrambachina, because there is a dissenting voice against CAB3. Do you agree with that thought?
Yes, I do. It's a way of cowing the citizens. It is a way of threatening the citizens. It is a preemptive strike, if you like. And this is because they think that CAB3 will generate unrest, and that unrest will start in the high dense suburb, in the highly populated areas where people are disadvantaged anyway, and where people do have grievances. CAB3 is not a small thing to the people who live in those areas, because these are the majority of voters, whether ZANU PF or MDC, it doesn't matter. They are the majority voters in elections. And all of a sudden, their right to vote is being removed. They are not going to like that. So this is a preemptive strike. The tragedy of it is that the opposition-run council is going along with that sadistic program. This is the winter season. People are being rendered homeless. And these are people who are struggling, hustling every day to make ends meet. And the government is removing the roof over their heads. And this is sad indeed. This country is now, to borrow Mbeki's words, in a country of two nations. You have the extremely rich people and the extremely poor people. There's no middle class anymore. If you go to Glenlawn, Borodale, all these leafy suburbs, you see construction taking place every day. You rarely see construction of anything new in Highfield, Mfakose, Glenora, Mbare, Zengeza, you know, and Chitungwiza as a whole, St. Mary's, Unity K, Unity Aero, etc., etc. You don't see construction taking place, which is an indication that the people, the population there is stressed. And indeed they are stressed. On top of that, their houses are being demolished. And on top of that, their right to vote is being taken away.
Their houses are being demolished by the opposition-run municipalities. You are right to say they are going along the government. one would say ZANU PF parceled out the land to most of these people through electioneering period. They told them, go and stay here and vote for us. Today they've come back and take those houses from them. Is it about the caliber of councillors from the opposition, or is it just about a failure to have principles?
I think the opposition in council lacks principles. You know, there are some things that you must stand for. Remember, if it was the MDC is from the Workers' Party, from the working class. And we understand the values, the social democratic values. We also understand the need to take care of the welfare of the people. This council is not thinking about the welfare of the poor people. There are no jobs. These people are hustling. And there are people, families, many families in this town, Harare, who cannot afford more than 1 meal a day. And these people are hustling, they are stressed, and on top of that, their houses are being demolished. Now, let's come to, it doesn't matter whether these people support ZANU PF or not. They are Zimbabwean people, and they are entitled to be treated in a humane way. They have their houses being demolished. After all, they didn't settle themselves there. They were settled there by some authority. Yes. And this same authority is coming and demolishing their houses. In other words, they are being punished for believing them. They were told, you can settle here, and they came and settled, and they are now being punished as if they are saying, why did you believe us?
But the question is, you are saying, or you are divorcing the MDC from the current, leaders, in local authorities. They are an offshoot from the MDC for beginning stage.
An offshoot is not the MDC. It is a rebel movement which has moved away from the MDC.
They carry the ethos, they carry the slogans, they carry the cry, they carry the spirit of Morgan Tsvangirai, the founding principle of MDC. If you hear them talk, they will talk about the cardinal pillars of Morgan Tsvangirai as it was in 1999.
Well, Morgan Tsvangirai is not an ideology. What is an ideology is a social democracy. The values of freedom, justice, equality, solidarity, democracy, respect for the rule of law. Those are the pillars upon which the MDC was formed. And remember, the MDC was formed at the back of the labor movement. Now, when the MDC split into MDC and CCC, many people did not see the actual thing that was happening. People just looked at personalities. Is Mwonzora fighting with Chamisa, for example? No, it was an ideological rupture.
What are the differences in ideology?
Yeah.
Because if you look at it,
you
talk the same issues, you talk about democracy, you talk about human rights, you talk about labor issues, you talk about students, empowerment of youth, you talk about women, upliftment. Where do you differ with CCC?
I'll just pick up just one thing. The MDC believes in getting into power at party level via congresses. And I probably carry the title as the most congressed person on the land. Every time we go for Congress. I was product of Congress when I became spokesperson of the MDC. Product of Congress when I became Secretary General. And twice I was elected president at a Congress. The CCC has never had congresses. We do primary elections if we want to select candidates. They do Berekamwana and so on. And we are very, very clear about our plans, especially when it comes to internal politics. They have what is called strategic ambiguity, something that has not been known in the world. So the CCC, unlike the MDC, is in the post-ideological phase. So what happened when the two split, you found trade unionists went one side. People like myself, many people don't know that I worked for the labor movement in my younger years. So you had myself, Mpariwa, Chimanikire, Mashakada, Kupe even. being trade unionists went one way. Then anarchic student leaders, people who were just there, activists.
One would say, let's not shy from it.
Without any ideological grounding, they went another side. So you had the people who are structured, measured, and who work according to certain rules and principles on one side. Then you had the anarchists on the other side. And these anarchists were really full of energy, and they told a successful lie. And the successful lie was that they were chosen by Morgan Tsvangirai, you know. And Zimbabweans unfortunately believed them. The press helped them, and so on. They were also helped by the G40, because at that point in time, the G40 had an axe to grind with the ZANU PF in power, the Lacoste group. So they lent them their propaganda machinery, which had been structured to help Mugabe in 2018. And this machinery found itself redundant, and it was put to good use by the G40 in order to destroy the opposition. They wanted to take over the opposition. They partially succeeded, because remember, you had Mavaire, Jim Kunaka, Jabunu, Mashaya Mombe,
and many others.
Quite many others, making it into the national executive of Mr. Chamisa's leadership. And much to the disapproval of most of us who were in the MDC. And of course, it was foreseeable that the G40 will reconcile with their cousins, and they've gone back home. Jonathan Moyo is speaking for Mnangagwa more than Mnangagwa's own children.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that.
So the difference between the CCC and the MDC is the difference, like the difference between light and darkness.
Well, one would say it's like the stars in the moon. They all appear at night.
Well, the one will say that some people want to be stars in the absence of the sun, you know, and that's where another difference is.
Because you all appear at the same time, you're all in the opposition, you're all fighting, unfortunately, you all are fighting to be seen, not to dislodge the sun, but you want to appear as if you're the sun.
Well,
ZANU PF is enjoying.
First of all, we'll talk about ourselves now, the MDC. And I'll just give you two examples of a party that is principled. In 2022, ZEC brought the delimitation report. It was a mechanism of stealing elections, objectively speaking. And the MDC fought against delimitation, warned the people of Zimbabwe that this delimitation is going to be abused. And at that point in time, the CCC sided with ZANU PF to the extent of putting a lawyer to fight us in the Constitutional Court. They sponsored Jeremiah Bam, to the extent of debating in Parliament, agreeing with ZANU PF. For example, they, during that debate, in order to spite us, two of their prominent people debated that it is better for the Registrar General to be in charge of the voters. They also agreed with ZANU PF that the Delimitation Commission should be separate and should be appointed by the President. Now, when the Minister of Justice was justifying his bill, he actually quoted opposition MPs. So sometimes, say, people in the opposition spite themselves, cut their noses to spite their face. Is it to cut your nose to spite their face,
yes,
or something like that?
Yes.
This is what happened. And
is it about
and right
self-hate, or
yeah,
it's about selfishness in the approach?
I think selfishness, but also look, when the issue of the CAB3 started manifesting itself, it was the MDC that stood up and said no. Whether we are doing it well or not well, but we are very consistent with what we want. So we are not doing that for the trophy. After all, we wrote the Constitution. After all, we are not in Parliament right now, and so on. We are not gaining anything, and so on. But the Triple C, at least those who are supporting CAB3, are doing that for selfish reasons.
But Mr. Mwonzora, if we trace the history, because CAB3, if we are to be very honest to each other, does not start in post-2023 elections. It starts way before that. It starts probably when we talk about CAB1, when they removed the issue of the running mate. That's when we saw the mutilation.
CAB2.
Yeah, CAB2. Right. When so you even removing of the Chief Justice term of office, but you were part of the people in Parliament then. You did nothing or little to eat to stop it. One would say what the MDC really did was to destroy the body politics of the opposition in Zimbabwe.
This is the usual propaganda, sickening propaganda that is spread by haters of the MDC. Say.
But these are facts of the ground.
They are not facts because they are not backed by facts.
Let's come to them.
Let me show you. You are saying I did nothing about CAB2.
What did you do?
That is not true. I did something about CAB2. I tried to negotiate with the minister to persuade him to remove it. I then was left to debate in Parliament. And if you go, and I don't understand Zimbabweans on this one, if you go to the Hansard now, you will see my speech in Parliament where I am refusing CAB2. But because at that point in time, people had just caricatured us, they had stereotyped us, they didn't listen. But fortunately, history is there. Fortunately, the written word is there. And it is there in the Hansard. So if you go to the Hansard I think it was 2021,
2021 August,
somewhere there, yes. If you go to the Hansard, you will see the biggest speech on CAB2 was by Senator Mwonzora. And it was against the removal of the running mate. It was against the removal of the age limit, of the extension of the age limit of the Chief Justice. And if you go to the court case that came, the lawyers who argued against CAB2 took word for word the arguments made by Senator Mwonzora in Parliament, in the Senate. So yes, we fought against it. We were defeated by sheer numbers.
But in those sheer numbers are a result of your fragmentation and your personal egos. Yourself as Douglas Togarase Mwonzora and Nelson Chamisa on the other end in this camp, you have portrayed yourself as people who can't, bury differences for a common cause. Are your differences so huge than the cause which caused the formation of the MDC?
I don't want you to equate me for the sake of it.
No, I'm equating you for the sake of...
You are equating me to Chamisa for the sake of it.
No, I'm equating you on the basis of you are both leaders of two distinctive, whether current or... But at some point in time...
Let me tell you what I did which Chamisa didn't do.
Yes.
In case it escaped you. During the burial of Senator Java, the mother to the famous Passion,
yes.
And Batsrai, she was a senator. She used the name Senem Rambanapas.
Yes.
So during the burial of Senator Rambanapas, during the funeral, both Chamisa and myself were given a platform to speak. And I said, partly in my speech, and I want to quote myself, my brother Nelson, we have no choice but to unite the people of Zimbabwe. We have no choice but to attack the political, economic, and social conundrum of Zimbabwe together. We have to work together. I said that. And end of quote. And during the burial of Maurice Rizai,
yes,
I again was given an opportunity, and I spoke that we must unite. What was the reaction? The reaction came from Fadzai Mahere and Jameson Timber. And their reaction was that I must have my head examined, that I was not well upstairs for saying that. But not only that, I have said, when we were fighting in CAB3, for CAB3, I have approached Triple C MPs to say, let's work together. we will give you the technical backing that you may need because of our association with this constitution. When we drafted it, we looked at a number of things, and you may find this helpful. So some of the MPs from the Triple C have agreed to work with me, and I am assisting them. I do not remember Mr. Chamisa talking about us uniting. I do not remember him assisting anyone in Parliament during this very difficult time. I do not remember him fighting delimitation. I do not remember him saying pleasant things about the other leaders. In fact, and I've never used that language, he described me at one point as a vomit, something that you don't expect people to say about one another. But that's his personality. But to equate me to him is unfair because I don't use that. I've spoken about unity.
I'm right to so, Honorable Mwonzora, on the basis that at one point in time, you were his SG in MDC Alliance. You actually worked together. After the Gweru Congress, you came in. You were part of the campaign team, the 2018 elections, right? You fought with him. So when you split, definitely there was that thought of to say, at least there was something that can unite you. But it seems as if each day that passes by, the division is wider and wider. What is it that is causing you never to unite?
Well, I have nothing personal against Nelson. When I meet him, we talk well to each other.
Do you talk about the future of Zimbabweans together without press conferences?
I did attempt to do that with him before he announced his retirement. And then when he announced his retirement and said he was no longer in politics, there was nothing to talk about. Of course, I was flabbergasted by that decision. But that decision then made somebody is in retirement and you are still active in the game. There's very little to talk about. So I also did not understand where he was coming and going, where he was going to, where he's coming from, and so on and so forth. But say, I have not talked about uniting with the Chamisa only. I have talked about uniting with the Chamisa, BT, Komichi, Mudzuri, and so on. And fortunately, sir, this is recorded. And if anybody wants to go back to history as early as this year, I said in the press conference that we should work together. And of course, the way they usually respond is to send trolls on Twitter, just abusing people and so on. So
why go on Twitter? Remember, MDC was never founded on Twitter. Then we had no Twitter, by the way. MDC was never founded even on Facebook, even on any social media platform. MDC was founded physically, people meeting at Chest House. I remember very well, where ZCT was housed then. Where Lavu Matombo, where Morgan Changrai, where Gibson Swanda, where then? And then you moved to Mandeo, you went to the women's Peru. That's the history of MDC. You can trace it through that route. Never on phones, never on platforms where non-actors can come in. Why would you want the future of Zimbabweans, or probably in opposition, to be determined by those on Twitter, most of whom are not your members?
Well, first of all, sir, you may want to know that the last meeting I had with Chamisa was physical. We met by his brother's garage at the copy area there. And we did 3 hours together, talking about the future of Zimbabwe and the need to bring political forces together.
So why are you not coming together?
Well, because one then left the political scene. And when he came back, if we can call it coming back, he had that famous press conference where he talked about the dance floor and something like that. And then there was a follow-up interview with with a journalist where he was asked, because I had been speaking about uniting the opposition, and he was asked that direct question. What do you say to what Mwonzora is saying? Are you going to unite with Mwonzora? And then his answer was, and I quote, we only dogs eat their vomit. Fortunately, we are not dogs. For me, use of bad language.
But
and
that's political banter, Mr.
it's
Mwonzora.
not banter, it's insult. It's not banter, it's insult. And one of the worst things you can do if you want to bring people together. So I have said that for opposition to unite, there are certain fundamentals. Number one, we must de-escalate conflict amongst ourselves. And I'm very happy to say that the MDC has heeded my call. And very rarely do you see them, even when they write their statements. My spokesperson is here. When they write their statements, they do not attack other political forces. But you have also seen attacks on the MDC. So we de-escalate conflict, that's number one. Number two, we go back to the founding values of the MDC. Fortunately, they are written in Article 4 of the Constitution of the MDC. They are not difficult to find. And then number three, we embark on mutual respect. We must respect one another, you see? And then we must look at certain values.
There is a lot of mistrust in the opposition in Zimbabwe. Do you agree with me? A lot of mistrust to the extent that Mwonzora is seen as ZANU PF, Chamisa is seen as a sellout to ZANU PF.
Well, of course.
What's the basis for that sellout tag in the opposition to run around?
The sellout tag for Mwonzora was started by G40. And G40 was taking it from the formation of ZANU PF and the culture in ZANU PF. And the culture in ZANU PF during the war, after the war, was to describe anybody who disagreed as a sellout. And as a result, they murdered some of their comrades by simply labeling them. And when the G40 took over the MDC, they looked at people who were disagreeing. For example, I was against the G40 supplying a vice president during the 2018 elections. That almost happened, you know. G40 wanted to put a vice president for us.
Then?
Well, according to some people in the G40, it was Grace Mugabe. Grace Mugabe was going to be the deputy for Nelson Chamisa. At least that's what the negotiators of G40 tried to do. And I went back to the party and said to Nelson, the president then, that this was a kiss of death. Unfortunately, it got to the G40. They put their machinery, their propaganda machinery against me. And they used the term that they knew how to use most, sell out, you know. But fortunately, history has absolved us now. And people of Zimbabwe are beginning to say, what type of sellout is this one? Who fights against delimitation? What type of sellout is this one? Who fights against CAB3 in a very open way? What type of sellout is this one? Who is threatening to take the government and the parliament to court for a secret ballot in the vote for CAB3? And the people of Zimbabwe are beginning to see for themselves. And I don't know what questions they are asking regards my colleagues, Chamisa, Komichi, and company. I don't know. But I know for certain the questions that they are now asking about myself, because some of them have come to me to say, we are sorry, Mr. Mwonzora, we misunderstood you. You were ahead of your time. You know, and sometimes this is the tragedy of things in the political life. Sometimes you are ahead of time. For example, when we were fighting this delimitation, we did not know then that the parliament, which is going to be the product of the delimitation, is going to determine who the president was. So at that point, we said, comrades, let's fight together. The people in the Triple C said we wanted to avoid elections. And
is it about politics of convenience? The principle of convenience. So long I feel like I'm comfortable, I can disagree with you even if you've got a principle grounded idea, but if I can benefit from it, I can oppose to it.
Probably yes, because look, we shouldn't be worrying about CAB3 at all. If the opposition in parliament was going to assume its responsibilities, because unlike what many people think, ZANU PF does not have 2/3 majority in the entire parliament. ZANU PF has 2/3 majority in the National Assembly. In the Senate, ZANU PF does not have 2/3 majority. In fact, it needs, I think, 4 MPs from the CCC in order to get...
Including the chiefs?
Yeah, if you assume the chiefs vote with them, they will still need, they are still short of 2/3, even if you add the 17 chiefs. So, ZANU PF, I think, has got 33, and the chiefs are 17, making 50, and 2/3 of 81 should be around 54, if I'm not mistaken. And therefore, the opposition in parliament is able to stop CAB3. But
do you foresee Sengezo Chabangu stopping CAB3 with the way things have taken over? He's now the grand master of opposition in Zimbabwe.
I'm talking about his ability to do so.
Well, let's talk about his ability, not his desire.
His willingness, I do not know. But the ability to stop it, to stop CAB3, rests in his hands. He has it. And it only takes the CCC to say, we are not voting for CAB3. And the vote may pass in the National Assembly if it is not by secret ballot. But if it is by secret ballot, probably it may not pass in the National Assembly. And if it then goes to the Senate, and assuming, and this is a critical assumption, assuming that the CCC votes against it, that will be the end of CAB3. So that is the historical responsibility that they are carrying. And that is the historical responsibility that we have brought to their attention, that they are holding the cards now.
Are they aware that they have the power to stop CAB3 as it is today, given all things being equal?
I now know that Chabangu is aware, and that is why, and again, many people did not get the essence of what he said. He said that they were not going to give ZANU PF that vote on a silver platter. In other words, he says he wants to negotiate away some of the clauses, I think. I don't also know what he wants to negotiate about. But it is a good starting point to say, don't assume that because we have agreed with you in the past, we will continue to agree with you. So Chabangu then said that they are not going to give ZANU PF any silver platter, and that ZANU PF must be prepared to negotiate.
But in your view, if you were to be Chabangu today, what would you negotiate in that CAB3 issue?
Well, the first thing is that it must go. CAB3 must go. You know, it serves no purpose. It is not curing any social, political, or economic ill in Zimbabwe. The problem, if you were to ask people, any person in the street, what is the problem in Zimbabwe? They will not say the problem in Zimbabwe is because the president is not running the country for long enough. They won't say that. They won't tell you that the problem is that 5 years is too short. They will tell you about unemployment, poverty, corruption. They will talk to you about inaccessibility of the healthcare system in Zimbabwe, of education even. That's what they will say. So CAB number 3 is curing nothing. And to quote the Americans, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But you see, what CAB3 is doing is the criminals that are the economic criminals that are working under the shield of ZANU PF, and these are the so-called Zuganandas, criminal people whose wealth is unexplainable, whose wealth has no traceable source, who are flaunting what we call false philanthropy. These criminals are pushing the president. They visit him often. You see people in pre-CAB farm and so on, pushing the president to stay longer.
Is Mnangagwa
Because,
captured?
because yes, these are the Guptas, the Zimbabwean Guptas. There is no question about that. And they are misleading that man.
What's the basis for this assumption that he's captured?
Because-
Besides the visit, besides them having money, is having money a sin in Zimbabwe?
Absolutely not. But having money which is not traceable is a dangerous thing. If somebody was to say, where does Strice Masiwa get his money? You will answer the question. He will answer the question. I will answer the question, probably. If you were to ask where does some of these people, where do they get their money, you will probably not know what the source of finance is. But what you see is that there is a false philanthropy. Money is being floated. Now, we as lawyers, when we see money being floated around, one thing comes to our mind.
Laundering.
That's laundering. That's cleaning the money. That's putting the money into the economic system, unless we get something, an explanation to the contrary. And that's why it is critically important that rich people must tell people the source of their wealth. There was a time that Mr. Chivayo wanted to donate, is it 3.6 million to Parliament, so that parliamentarians can vote. Even ZANU PF saw that this was obscene, it was too open, and so on. And the ZANU PF youths then rejected it. But you have here a person who is rich, who wants to influence a vote in Parliament, and goes scot-free. He is scot-free right now. No attempted bribery allegations are put against, are leveled against him.
Well, the argument would be he did not make a formal discussion with anyone in Parliament. It was just him posting somewhere there that I want to donate.
Yes, in law we have two elements that constitute a crime, and that is the actual intention and the actual action. Now, if it is an attempt, you look at it at intention, and who will tell us better his intention than the person himself? And the person himself posted his intention, and that is enough to constitute a crime. Of course, people then rejected it. But if you have a rich person using his riches not to help Parenyatwa Hospital, not to help Harare Hospital, Salim Mugabe Hospital, no, not to send disadvantaged people to school. If you see the people floating this wealth, where they will make sure that they get the pictures.
One
where
would
they will
say
make sure.
Chivai has given 10 ambulances across the country. Tagure is running his Arundel Hospital. He's sending people to be treated for free. Tungwarara is there. Is refurbishing. So they are doing something for the social services of this country.
What we look at, sir, is what is the percentage of the money that they've spent on
This is their money, private money.
on philanthropic issues.
This is their private money, Mr. Mwonzora, which you and I have.
We don't
So
we don't know, say, that it is their money, because we don't know its source. You see, that's where the problem is. So if you are a public figure and you want to embark on philanthropy, one of the most important things is to disclose your source of wealth.
well, should we classify them as public figures?
Yes, they are.
They are private individuals.
No, they're public figures.
How?
They are public figures in
Under
the
what,
sense.
under what law are they?
In the sense that, let's talk about Mr. Tagwire, for example.
Yes.
Mr. Tagwire is in the Central Committee of ZANU PF.
That's a ZANU PF.
But
institution
that's
there.
public, say. He's in the Central Committee of a ruling party. Mr. Tongwarara, for example, he's the presidential advisor. That's what we are told. How does he not become a public
Is that
figure?
office regulated by any law?
I don't know, but
That office is answerable to the Public Finance Management Act in any way?
I don't know. But for somebody to be a public figure, say, you know what do we say? If it quakes like a duck, swims like a duck, lays eggs like a duck, then it's a duck. Mr. Tungwarara performs public functions in the name of the president and describes himself without contradiction as the presidential advisor. Why should we doubt him on that? But anyway, that is semantics. These are well-known individuals. Yes, they have private lives. We respect that. But the moment they now come to the public, make public gestures, including philanthropy, then their source of wealth must be disclosed. And what do they lose to disclosing their source of funds? You have talked about inspiration to the young people. What do the young people learn from Wicknell, for example?
That you can make money and eat money
How?
and enjoy it.
How?
Hustling, whatever makes you money, you must make money, eat money, enjoy it, and post
Yes.
about the money you earn.
What young people would want to know is how did Mr. Chivayo start his business? How did he grow it? What can I copy from him? You see, the spending of the money is another issue. It's actually the end of things. Making the money. Remember the youngsters, they have nothing. They probably have knowledge, university degree, college, or high school, I don't know. And they want to know how Mr. Mwonzora has made his living. And I'll point them to a law school. I'll point them to a law firm. I will tell them I'm trying farming now. And I've started rearing sheep. I started with 100. Look at my number now. It's something that they can copy. Now, if the source of wealth is not known and only spending is known, people are learning absolutely nothing.
Mr. Mwonzora, let's come back to CAB3. These are individuals who are enjoying their money, doing whatever they're doing, whether it's good or bad. Well,
Only that, sir, I want to repeat, we don't know, you don't know whether it's their money or not.
yes, we don't know their money. As I've said, we don't know whether it's public money or their money had and how they made it. Well, one day we hope they will explain to the people to say, what Tagore has tried to tell us, he sold the house, he did the loan and all that thing. Do you think there is hope for the opposition in Zimbabwe?
Of course, there is. There is hope for the opposition in Zimbabwe because what is important for an organization is to go through the mills. You know, somebody was talking about how diamond is made, how diamond is formed. A lot of pressure, a lot of heat. You have to go through that. And I'm so happy that as an individual, I've gone through that. I've gone through...
But some will say you lack charisma to attract.
Well, you know what?
It's being brutal and honest.
Well, I don't know about that.
Do you believe in yourself that you have that charisma? Because you can have the skill, but not the ability to attract.
Well, you are asking me, do you think you are handsome, Mr. Mwonzora, or you are ugly? You know, I will tell you, I don't think I'm ugly. Go to another man, no one will say I'm bad, you know. So you are asking me to judge myself.
Yeah, but
and
look yourself in this question.
and that is an unfair question. Let me tell you what I'm good at. I'm good at planning. I am thorough. I read my things. I understand the politics of the land. I understand what is good for my people. I understand what is bad for my people, and so on.
And what
but if you say then that you don't speak well, I don't know.
What are you not good at? What you think you are not good at? What you think you might need?
I don't know.
To go forward.
I don't know. I just think that Zimbabweans don't understand most of me. And what I need to do is to expose myself more and more to them. Just like the young man I met at Groombridge, he asked me, well, until I listened to you, I always just took you for granted and so on. There are some people who like my speeches, and there are some people who think my speeches are dull. There are some people who think speeches must be made of facts. There are some people who think that for it to be a good speech, it must contain a lot of jokes. There are some people who believe that. There are some people who look at it entertainment. when they listen to political speeches.
If you look
And
at
there are
it,
some people who look at seriousness. So, what I know, say, is that I have what it takes to lead.
if I was to give you an advice, I would think you are a good organizer or you're a good manager, but you cannot lead in terms of being at the forefront, but you can be a good support pillar in terms of ensuring things are in order. Are you buying into that thought? You are a good foundation on which anything can lie upon.
Well, say, I can't argue with you because it is your opinion. And you know, as a constitution maker, the first thing I will defend is your right to an opinion, right? So it's your opinion. That's the way you look at me. There are people who look at me differently now, and who think that if, for example, the disturbances within the MDC had not happened, and you know the unfairness that happened in the MDC, don't you? That when the contest for Secretary General took place in the MDC people knew that the person they are going to make Secretary General is their next leader. And they made a choice. And 2 years down the line, that was upset by an unconstitutional appointment of people, you know, who were not elected, who had lost in a democratic contest. Now, the people who voted for us in that Congress knew us very well. They knew Douglas Mwonzora, they knew Nelson Chamisa, they knew Komichi, they knew Mashakada, and so on and so forth. They knew us. And with their knowledge, they made a choice. So there are people who may think that I will make a good leader. There are people who think I may not make a good leader. For example, I was surprised one day when we were still together in the MDC. Somebody says, we don't like Douglas Mwonzora. We like his mind. It did not make sense to me. What does that mean, really? You know, but there were quite a number of people who were saying that. And right now you are telling me that your preferred leader will have these attributes. But somebody may look at it differently. So I don't want to defend myself here. I want to defend your right to an opinion.
What is lacking? Morgan Tsvangirai was not educated than you, but by and large, in terms of academic education. Nelson Chamisa is far much better than Morgan Tsvangirai. You are far much better than Morgan Tsvangirai. Washington Mwebe is far much better than Morgan Tsvangirai. But Morgan Tsvangirai stood the test of time. He stood, all what is happening today happened to Morgan Tsvangirai, and he stood until he delivered a GNU in 2008, beating Robert Mugabe in an election. Even if...
Who told you that I'm not going to defeat Mnangagwa or Chiwenga in 2028 or 2030? Who told you that? You see, this is the problem of judging people every time. Say, if we continue, if we continue with this political game, I'm going to defeat them. And I know it. Some people may think it's arrogance. It's sureness. I know it. And I know that the making of a good leader is somebody who goes through the hard times and he keeps his head above the water. No one has been subjected to harsh criticism the way I have been in this country. No one has been subjected to false propaganda by two political parties competing to destroy that person. But look, guess what? I'm still on my 2 feet. I'm the president of the MDC. I am a fact in this country. But let's go to the leadership of Morgan Tsvangirai. And again, it's not your fault, it's your opinion, but it's a faulty opinion.
How
in the sense that you are assuming that Morgan Tsvangirai, when he was doing well, he was his Secretary General.
No.
You are forgetting that Mwonzora was his Secretary General. You are assuming that he was his organizing secretary. You are assuming that he was his national chairperson. So the superiority of Morgan Tsvangirai is the ability to organize
I was coming
these
to
people,
that.
right?
Ability to work together with other people.
Yeah, to organize these people. Remember, Tsvangirai survived the 2 splits.
Yes.
In fact, 3
Yes.
splits.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I have survived how many?
Do you call them splits or we call them departures? Because look at
It is a split.
The effect of it, the net effect of it, when an individual leaves and when a group of an individual, the effect is just too different. You when
No, let me help you. Let me help you. When the first split happened, I think it was 2005.
Washman Ngube
Washman Ngube, it was not an individual. It was a
big grouping.
It was a big grouping.
Yes.
So it was a split.
Yes, but I'm talking about you.
Then you are too obsessed in finding fault. Let me show you how wrong you are.
Yes.
If we go to 2013,
Yes.
Tendai Biti and Mandela,
Yes.
they were a group of people.
Yes.
Let's go to 2020,
Yes.
after the Supreme Court judgment.
Yes.
It was even a bigger group that left with the with Chamisa, BT, and the company.
Okay.
And then you go to 2022, after the Congress of 2022. It was a big group, Mwonzora and the company, and so on. So there were those were 2 distinct splits. Morgan Tsvangirai survived 3. I have survived 2. Morgan Tsvangirai circumvented or beat the obstacles culminating in his being prime minister. You assume that I won't culminate, my struggles won't culminate in a presidency. Why?
I'm looking at the
Because
journey.
it looks, because at this point in time, it looks impossible, isn't it? Now, the good planners say, and political leaders look not at the terra firma, they look at the terra incognito, something that people don't see. They see that.
Take us to that journey. Take us to the confidence in that journey.
Yes, we are going there.
How do you want to navigate? Currently, you're not in parliament. You don't know. Assumably, Chawang and these people side with ZANU PF. The only time and debate you could be in parliament is 2030. So, meaning for now until 2030, Douglas Togarase Mwonzora and these people have got little to no chance of being in parliament. 2030, thank God they're still there, still intact.
Yes. We're in 2026 to 2030 is 4 years.
Yes.
Right. If you are a political leader or leadership worth its salt, what do you do in the 4 years? Do you sit down or you plot and plan and do?
Does the opposition have a post-CAB plan?
Of course.
What is it like?
Well, unfortunately, we can't disclose that now.
But we can talk about probably the pointers
because right now, say, we are fighting CAB3, and we are not looking too much on defeat. We are looking at trying to secure victory. That's the mentality of a warrior when you are going into battle. So right now, my troops are being rallied around defeating CAB3. And we are doing so well, sir. And that is why they are now sending death threats. I'm sure you have heard of that. People saying that I should not meet General Mchena, the retired army general. Somebody wrote that I was going to see him. I had a meeting with him, and that we are going to plan a coup. And I said to them, how do I plan a coup with somebody who is retired now, who has no access to the armory, who has no access to weapons? What type of coup is that? So it is just stupid. And by the way, the ZANU PF people, when they want to proceed unfairly against you, they give you a name first and then attack that name. For example, when you want to beat someone, you call them a dog. So that when you are beating him and being unfair to him, you are not being unfair to a human being. You are being unfair to a dog. So, and as they say in Nigeria, when a hyena wants to eat its young ones, it starts by blaming them of smelling like goats. So right now, they are making these bizarre allegations of coup and so on.
On the same seat you are seated today, Komichi sat there and he made a bold statement to say that he has tried so hard to unite the opposition. You have said the same claim today. You have tried so hard to unite the opposition. Who is refusing to be united in the opposition?
I don't know, sir. The efforts that Senator Komicha has made.
Do you agree with that is an effort, in your view? Has he ever approached you to make a peace amends among the opposition?
No.
Yes. Was he mentioned your name to say he has reached out to you? No. In fact, he gave an analysis to say you wanted the opposition, all opposition people, when they were refused or denied an opportunity to speak during the public hearings at the City Sports Center. You wanted them to come to Harvest House, and they made a deal to say you can use the Harvest House and make a statement from there.
Yes, say, is that what you are calling unity?
I mean, even the overtures to say, guys, can we just find a common ground on an issue?
Yeah. Regarding CAB3, I had a meeting with Komichi at Pariah State in Avondale, and the person who called that meeting was me. You know, and I'm scheduled to have a meeting with Mwonzora. The person calling that meeting is myself, not the other way around. Yes, I know that through a guy called Divine Mafa, Senator Komichi and I think all of us have been put in a group named One Opposition or United Opposition, something like that. And we are still yet to see how that thing will go. So the MDC, for example, has been very clear and open about the need for unity. We have said that in press conferences, and we have acted it. But you see, sometimes when we are fighting CAB3, some NGOs select political leaders. For example, there was a SAPES organized meeting by Dr. Mandaza. He calls everyone except the MDC. They won't invite the MDC. Now, we can't do anything about that. Even with their knowledge that we have an opinion.
Is it about the price, the ZANU PF tag that you carry along? Everybody
carries it, unfortunately. Chamisa carries it, Komichi carries it. Everybody within the opposition carries it.
Their claims, maybe, let me ask this question. Their claim that Nelson Chamisa could have sought out. That's why he had to jump ship when Sengezo Chabango rose, because he had sought out. Has that come across your thought or come across your ears?
Yes, I have heard of that. I heard it in England. When I was in England, somebody said that to me. He's not even a Zimbabwean who said that to me. Here,
those are your international partners who have got that kind of a thought.
And here, I have seen on social media people are talking about it. I have not had the opportunity of meeting Advocate Chamisa and asking him himself, you know, whether it's true or not. I have no knowledge of that. But you see, if you segregate opposition people, if you're an NGO, you are making a mistake, because the more the merrier in this game. So we have no problems with working with Komichi, Chamisa, Mwonzora, absolutely not. Because right now, we have an issue that ought to unite us. And as the MDC, we have put our cards on the table.
Knowing Chamisa, do you think could be purchased? Does he have a price tag in your view? The way you know him from the activism perspective, does he have a price tag that can go along with him?
I do not understand the question.
Do you think Chamisa could be up for sale?
Oh, I see. You mean, do I think that someone could offer Chamisa money?
Yes, and put the strap on the outer.
And he sells his his soul? I don't know. That's an honest question. Answer, I do not know.
Was ever Douglas Mwonzora offered money to abandon the struggle?
Yes.
How much was it? And who did it?
The first time, it was 100,000 US dollars. I was a young lawyer and practicing I had opened my private practice in Masvingo, and I was arguing the political. I had filed the challenge against the Political Parties Finances Act. Somebody from ZANU PF came with 100,000 US dollars and said that I should drop the case. In fact, that's the last part. The first part was I was working for Mnyaradzi Mangwana. When I took that case, I was fired from work for refusing to drop the case. And then I went to Masvingo. Somebody from ZANU PF came with money a week before the argument in the Supreme Court to say, why don't you drop this? We will make it worth your while. You are a young lawyer, you want to grow and so on. We will give you clientele and so on. And I said, say, you keep your money. I am going to work and I'm going to make my own money, legitimate money. And as things stand, the political parties' finance battle that we won on the 30th of September 1997 in the Supreme Court, just down there, goes down in history as one of the most significant legal battles ever won. I was 27. And I'm happy that it's a case being studied at university. You know, it's a case that has made far-reaching contributions to the democracy of the country. So I'm quite happy with that. So there is something that is more than money, sir. The satisfaction, the utility.
I agree with you on that. I'm talking about
then
post Morgan Tsvangirai, post 2018, when or the time you became the leader of, or when you become active more in the opposition now during the post Morgan Tsvangirai era. Have you ever been offered money to sell off the struggle?
No, I haven't been offered money by anyone. Nor any incentive by anyone.
Have there been overtures from ZANU PF to say, if you abandon the ethos of the opposition, we're going to give you this position?
The ZANU PF knows me better than that, sir. And, you know, ZANU PF has got CIO. And these people, besides what we all know they do, I now know that they research and profile people. So they can tell you the character of Mwonzora is this. This one he can agree, this one he won't. And they know that when it comes to issues of the Constitution, when it comes to issues of democracy, I won't budge. You can give me 20 million, you can give me $1 billion, I'll probably refuse it.
Those who are against you say Douglas Mwonzora was bribed through the party finances when he was given to control the money.
Yeah, but look at it. The control of the political parties' finances was poetic justice, wasn't it? I argued that. I won that at 27. And when time came for us competing for the money, the person who wrote it defeated those who didn't write it. Does that surprise anyone? And say the people I fought with remember this went to the courts. So this did not come from ZANU PF. We went to court and I beat them. And the people I beat in court, some of them were my law students when I was teaching. So why should people be surprised that the master beat the student?
Some are saying that's why there is this kind of a thought to say you are all against Nelson Chamisa because you look at him as a student. He can't outshine his masters.
No. I'm not saying.
I agree with you. Legally, Chamisa has got no. As you can't compare to you in terms of experience and what they've done. But politically, some would say he's in a cloud.
I'm not saying, sir, that students can't do well better than even their teachers. We all know that. But I am saying that when I won against my students, the default position of people was that I had not won fairly and that I had been assisted by ZANU PF. And I'm saying, should it really surprise people that the master has beaten the student? You know, I am saying that the issues of experience come into it, the issues of knowledge of the law that you wrote. It's an added advantage, because when you are arguing in court, there is what is called the intention of the lawmaker, the intention of the legislature when they are interpreting a statute. So the person who knows the intention of the legislature, who can know it more than the person who wrote that thing. So I feel that Zimbabweans have not given me enough respect in that regard, those who are arguing like that, because it shouldn't surprise people that I won a court case.
Well,
But
as we went down,
this thing went into court on 22 occasions. And I beat them 21 times because they were making the same mistake.
as we went down, Mr. Mwonzora, do you see CAB3 being stopped at any given time?
It is stoppable. And I will start with the easy one. If the C brothers and sisters who are in parliament live to their responsibility, they will stop CAB3. That's as simple as that. And we in the opposition must not denigrate them. We must approach them and persuade them. And that's why we are very worried about what their chief whip is doing, Honorable Charles Moyo, threatening MPs who are debating against CAB3. Because he himself as an individual wants CAB3 to sail through for his own reasons. But it is unfair for him as a member of the opposition to try to threaten other MPs. I know for certain, on good authority, that some MPs who wanted to debate last week were refused the chance to debate because they were in disagreement. And I know one of the MPs who had to confront the Minister of Justice, you know. And right now, as the debates are happening in Parliament, people do not have the freedom to speak. They are being threatened with recalls and so on. And I think that is a tragedy for Zimbabwe. And, you know, to be fair with Honorable Moyo, I am going to see him. Because this is wrong. This is so wrong. We want the opposition to go to the side of the people of Zimbabwe, the defenseless people of Zimbabwe, and they can stop CAB3. But there's other things that can stop the CAB3 also, the people of Zimbabwe. I told you that there is a demand from the people of Zimbabwe for a secret ballot. There are demand from the MPs themselves for a secret ballot. And I don't know how many of them will vote against it in a secret ballot, but I suspect it's significant. That's another thing. The third thing is that we must push this thing to be sent to referendum. And now, we are using ZANU PF's argument to justify the referendum. And ZANU PF's argument is that this bill must not go for referendum because it does not involve amendment of the Bill of Rights. Now, the Bill of Rights is from section 40 to section 87. And that means it includes section 67. Section 67 contains political rights, two rights, the right to vote and the right to be voted for. And it says every Zimbabwean adult has the right to vote in elections. And CAB number 3 now is saying you can only vote in a presidential election if you are an MP. In other words, they have amended section 67 by implication to say everybody has the right to vote, provided that if it is a presidential election, only those who are members of parliament can vote, different from the current text. Because amendments can be done in two ways. expressly through a written word or by implication. So the right to vote has been amended. And therefore, the Bill of Rights have been amended. And therefore, this thing must go to referendum.
You failed to mobilize people to put opposition views in parliament. Why? ZANU PF managed to mobilize up to 99%, up to 90%. Why did the opposition fail to do so?
Do you really believe that? Do you not know that in Mashonaland West, one person put 45,000 views? One person, right? And it's a matter of public record now. Do you not know that ZANU PF made forms that people were supposed to fill in the villages and so on? So those were not opinions of 500,000 people. They were probably opinions of 2 people who wrote on behalf of the masses. And say, to show you that it doesn't make sense, the statistics that you are referring to that they gave us, they don't make sense. So how do you classify, for example, somebody who says, I don't support the removal of the right to vote, but I support that the president stays until 2030. How do you classify that? Do you classify that as rejection of the bill or acceptance of it? Now, you probably say both, isn't it? But their statistics don't look at that thing now. Because there are people who said, this bill, we will support an additional 10 seats in parliament, extension of the Senate to something like 80.
Yes.
But I know some people to 90, from 80 to 90.
Yes.
There are some people who wanted actually to raise the number to 100 in the Senate. And they were saying that extension, we agree with it. But we don't agree that it is the vacancies be filled by the president. Now, how do you classify that submission? It has agreed with something, but disagreed with another.
So even there's no objectivity in the classification?
Absolutely none. And the parliament is lying to us that is the statistics. They are lying to us that they read 500,000 texts. They are lying. And I can tell you that what they are saying is impossible. And I have knowledge about that because in COPAC, we received things like that. And popular as COPAC was, 500,000 views is an impossibility. And if you look at, these are written ones, isn't it? And how many pages was each? Multiply them by 500,000. And you look at the number of pages that this parliament wants to tell us that they read in what? In 3 days. That's a lie.
Well, that was Senator Douglas Togarasei Mwonzora telling us that CAB3, the opposition, still has the ball. They can stop it if they want to. They can make ZANU PF have its way if they want to. The ball is in the hands of Sengezo Chabangu and his crew. He says that he has tried to build the opposition, but nothing has come to fruition. Really appreciate his views. Please continue liking our page and following us on YouTube each time so that you can receive whatever would have posted afresh. From me, Mwonzora, in the crew behind the scene, we say good day.